Hello, guys, and welcome back to this one. First off, I just want to say a happy new week to you all. Hope you're having a good one, buzzing for the new week, or tired of the new week. It is what it is, right? Yeah, let's get into it. I'm excited to crack on with it. So, this week we're going to be looking at reverse words. So basically, we have a sentence and we're trying to reverse the word. This time around, not just reverse a string, right? Like a palindrome. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but yeah. Well, this time around, we're trying to reverse words. So the kind of technical part of it is like when you spin the string, then you have kind of a disarray in a sense, because now it's a sentence. It doesn't even make any sense when you spin it around. So how you get it to make sense when you spin it around, I think that's the trick, and we'll see that very soon. So what do? We we as usual turn our string into a list, because that is more malleable and more manipulatable, or whatever word you want to use for it. But basically, we could do more manipulations with a list than with a string, right? In Python, though, in Python. So yeah, just to be clear on that. So, but what do we do first? What we do first is we write out a function that takes an index and another index and turns it around, right? Reverse range. So we basically just reverse a range. Any range is given, it basically reverses the character in that range. Let's see how that works. So we call a while loop that takes in a left index and the right index, and it says while the left index is less than the right index, so up until they are equal, let the left index and the right index be equal to the left index, right index, and the left index. So basically, your usual suspect of spinning characters around. So we do that and we increase the left index and decrease the right index as they come closer to equality. So when they come closer to equality, they become, remember they hit at an equal index. Obviously, there's nothing to spin around again. So just for clarity, let's understand that. Let's not go dwelling on maybe getting confused with that code, right? Let's just look at that line and know that what we have there is something that reverses a string in a range, right? So what do? We go ahead in line 13 to say what? Reverse the range from the beginning of the sentence to the end of the sentence first off, right? So we go ahead and we turn our sentence around. But at that point, for this function we have here, we already will have something like this. U is this. Who this is U would something will be something like U C is is alright. I think that is also S T H ABHT. So something like this. So this is what you are going to be having, right? So that's that at that index, and then we will go further. We will try to understand. We will now try to do what? I will stop here because it's kind of already clear what we need to do. But yeah, you could just stop here and think on it a bit before we move forward. But yeah, what we go ahead to do is that we go ahead to instantiate a start index, right? And we will now call a for loop that ranges from the from point zero to the length of the characters plus one. Now, why do we do that? You say we say plus one, so the loop does not end when does not this is my spelling does not end when we get to the index at the length of the list. Don't worry yourself, you go see spelling, you go run. I think is this length? Is it length or length? Is it length? Yeah, it's length.
2,000 years later.
So I'm correct. It's length, right? So more than things are happening, right? Length as at the index of the list. Now, as this allows us to turn the last word around as well. So basically, we need a breather to be able to turn the last word around. That's what we are saying. But I will get into that, and you probably get that when we get to the next line on the subsequent lines. It says if current index equals to len characters. So basically, if the current index is equal to the length of the characters, right? Or characters at the current index is equals to an empty, you know, an empty string, right? Basically, the places where we have intersections before the next word, right? Places like this, right? That we want to what? We want to call that reverse guy. But where do we want to call it? We want to call it at the start index. For that, it will be the 0 guy over here. That is the first index, which will be 0. To the current index, -1. Why -1? We say -1 because we call the the condition, because the condition for calling the reverse range is when we find a space, right? So because when we find a space, so the index will be here. So when we find a space is when we call the reverse range. That means we're not trying to turn around from here to here. Where we're trying to turn around is this to S. So that's why we go back to the last this thing, because we know that that's where we'll find the real character, and then we'll spin it around, right? And we do that, and then what we do is immediately after doing that, we point our start index to our current index plus 1. Still again, referencing the space, we move forward to here and call it our starting index, because we know that when here is our starting index, and the next space we'll find will be here, and we'll need to come back here to spin it around. So basically, that's it. And then the second condition says if the current index equals to the length of the characters. So now, if we find the length of this character, right, the index will be somewhere after u, right? And somewhere after you, because yeah, because indexes count within, but length counts after, right? What do I mean by that? Index, if I said all the indexes that are valid for this guy, it would be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. So it would be 10, because we count from 0 to 10. But when we do length, we are going to have 11, because length of this stuff will be 11. That's how length is being, is being classified in Python, right? Or basically in every, I don't know if every other programming language, I don't know the programming language in the world. But yeah, so we are trying to keep it alive. And exactly what we said here, the plus one. The plus one will also make it, maybe add an extra one, so that the loop does not break, and then we are able to say go back here and spin this guy around, just so that this function works. So we do all that, and then after doing all that, we now have our character well loaded up with the different variables we want, but all of them separated by commas within a list. And then we'll go ahead to say what yeah, we'll go ahead to say join all the strings of the list of the character, and kumbaya, sip pina colada, and be happy. So yeah, that's it for the reverse string. Hope you understand what I've been rambling on about. But yeah, I try to get deep into it, and basically you see here when we run this is you, we get you is this. Yeah, poor choice of words, but I think by this time you guys would have gotten used to my naming conventions being weird. But yeah, I think this has been an interesting one, from my spelling of length and all that good stuff. See you on the next one. Muchas gracias. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss.